Okay, and once again, welcome back to part 5 of our podcast/radio production lessons. Today we're going to be looking at interview techniques, and specifically 2 styles of interview. The first is an interview that is scripted, where we have a number of questions written out that we're going to take the interviewer through. The second is a slightly more spontaneous style of interview, where we've sketched out some topics that we're going to ask questions on, but we're really going to let the interview be driven by the interviewee and maybe take it in some slightly different directions depending on the answers they give. You'll notice we've kept the same format as we had last week, with the same signature brass sting at the beginning of the show and the same looped signature tune running underneath the voiceover, as you can see here. We could of course also drop in a sting to indicate we're moving into a different section of the show, like now. And you'll also notice that the marker's changed, indicating that we're now moving into the next section. So this is a scripted interview with soul legend Barry White. So now I'd like to offer a very warm welcome to soul legend Barry White. Barry, thanks very much for coming in to talk to us today.
You're very welcome.
So Barry, I'd like to take you back to where it all began, in Galveston, Texas, back to 1944 when you were born Barry Eugene Carter. Is that correct?
That's correct, baby.
But I believe you grew up in Los Angeles rather than Texas. I've got that right, yeah?
That's right, yeah, that's yours.
And Barry, they were hard times, yeah? I believe that you actually spent a few years in jail. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got that right. About age 17, I was jailed for 4 months.
And so what was it? What was it that changed? Changed you around? What is it that got you into music?
While I was in jail, I listened to Elvis Presley singing "Now or Never."
Oh wow!
Baby, that changed my world.
I can imagine.
You know
I can
what I'm
imagine.
saying?
Absolutely, yeah, totally.
That was when music really took me on.
So then that takes us up to kind of 1972, when I believe that you got your first big break, producing a girl group called Love Unlimited.
That's right, yeah.
It was a kind of a Motown thing, yeah?
Yeah, very much so. Very much in the style of the Supremes, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And I think it was then, 2 years later, in 1974, that you had one of your biggest hits, which was You're the First, the Last, My Everything, which got to number 1 on the Billboard charts, and I think spent 2 weeks at number 1 in the UK. Is
That's
that correct?
correct. Yeah, that was one of my biggest hits, both here and stateside.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's one of the tunes that most people associate with Barry White, and obviously that and your voice, which has
set the scene, baby.
Set the scene for many love affairs. Let's just say that, Barry. Is it true also, Barry, that you've starred as yourself in an episode of The Simpsons?
That is correct. Yeah, I did star as Barry White in The Simpsons.
With, of course, your
buddy Bart. And it's one of the things that I'm most proud of.
Barry, yeah, absolutely. I can imagine being very proud of that, crowning off a fantastic career. Before you go, I know you're a busy man. Is there anybody that you'd like to work with in the future, musically, that you've heard recently and you think is destined for greatness?
Yeah, definitely. There's a young man called Jansoy Alakan.
Yeah,
who's a fantastic rapper. There's also a fantastic jazz singer called Hannah Ladbury.
Oh, wow.
She's a bit of an animal, but I really like to work with her.
I know what you're saying, Barry.
And, of course, those Validas brothers, they are destined for greatness. That
oh,
is
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying that.
For sure.
Everybody keeps saying that, Barry. Well, look, thank you very much for coming in to spending some time with us.
You're very
and
welcome.
We hope to see you very, very soon. Thank you very
Sure
much.
will.
Barry White. Okay, so that was the first of our interview techniques. That was a scripted, structured interview with the questions following a set format, and the answers were answers that we would expect it to get given the research that we'd done prior to the interview. Our next style is a slightly more spontaneous style of interview with a DJ, producer, remixer called Mark Lovell. So here we go. Okay, so I'm here with producer, DJ and remixer Mark Lovell, aka Markisimo. Mark, just give us a précis of the kind of things you've been up to recently and all the people that you've worked with and what's coming up in the future for you.
Well, hi Alex, thanks for having me on your radio show. I've worked with lots of different artists, from really small emerging artists, people that are just starting out, to major artists including Gwen Stefani.
Wow.
I did the computer game music for BioShock with Moby. I've done remixes for people like U2, MIA, Robin was a really good one. So yeah, working with lots of people, and I also work with other producers and mixers. So I'm working at the moment with Simon Godgerly, and he's a Grammy Award-winning mix engineer, and he's mixed tracks for people like U2. He did all the No Doubt stuff. So lots of various different things for different people.
Okay, so talk us through the MIA track.
Being a new sort of remix producer, you have to fight quite hard to get the parts to remix, because bigger acts like MIA, everyone wants to get involved in their project. So spent many months working and trying to work with their Interscope Records in America to try and get the parts, because XXL Records, which are the UK-based company for were the UK-based company for MIA, weren't interested, but we had a contact in Interscope, and we kept plugging away till we got the parts, remixed it, and then spent a whole lot of time plugging the remix via some of my contacts. So I've got a good contact at Radio 1, so we sent it over there.
And then what happened then? I mean, how did it all kick off then?
They started playing it. I kept listening to the shows, hoping that it would be played, and then they started playing it, which was really exciting.
I can imagine. So you're now DJing around town and stuff. Where can we see you, soon? Where have you been playing?
In the UK, venues like Pulse, smaller venues like the Wheelbarrow in Camden, the Soho Review Club, lots of after-show parties, lots of fashion parties, and internationally, lots of times in Ibiza, Boston, New York, lots of cool and interesting places. But I think one of the most interesting things I've done lately was at the Wheelbarrow, which is run by the people that run Lovebox in Camden. There were 200 people in the room. I was DJing, I had 2 MCs on stage, and I was mixing live their tracks, looping them with them rapping and MCing over them. So I think basically DJing is about knowing what tunes to play, what the audience want, and as long as they're dancing, having a good time, then I'm happy.
Absolutely, sure. Finally, before you go, I know you're a busy man, you've got to shoot off. You've brought in some of your latest stuff for us. Just talk us through, what are you going to play for us now?
Well, I thought I'd play you a track I produced with the world famous beatboxer Killer Keller from the Aggie Jukes album Legacy, and it's called Leave My Mark.
Cheer, cheer, it's Aggie Jukes. Killer Cows. Slide up in it. See, you can tell by the way your intro that a boss is about to talk. I know you're anticipating greatness by the way that Aggie walks. I swear I won't let you down, just like a stripper.